The views expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect those of this station.
Welcome to Insights into Northeast Michigan, a WBKB News public affairs program. Insights deals with the issues affecting those in the community, as well as Northeast Michigan and the state. And now, Insights into Northeast Michigan.
Welcome to this edition of Insights, everybody. I'm your host, Marissa McKay, and joining me this week is everybody involved in the special election that we had on Tuesday. So first is new City Council-elect person, Mike Noak. Mike, how are you?
Good, doing well.
All right, so you were elected on Tuesday. It's only been a few days now. We're Sunday, and tomorrow is when you'll be sworn in officially at the meeting. So what are your feelings about that?
Well, I'm very excited to be sworn in. It's been a whirlwind since Tuesday night. We had, a great celebration of being elected and becoming the voice of the citizens here in Alpena. Since then, it's been just a lot of learning, meeting with the city manager to understand exactly, what my responsibilities will be and where the city is on a lot of the current issues.
Right.
That was a long time. I have a lot of stuff to catch up on, so it's time to really get focused and get ready to go to work, and I am.
Definitely, and also it's the first time that this new group of people is working together as well, so that'll be pretty exciting because, as you said, I believe when you were campaigning, you had some different ideas and some other people to bring to the table.
Yeah, I think we all have a little bit of an idea of what we'd like to accomplish. Myself, in this year, I'd like to really work on a lot of the projects that we've seen. We have a lot of needs in the city, as you can well imagine, and what I want to do is be able to bring as many as we can forward. There's been, needs from the city fire and the city police and
that
all the
capital
other
improvement plan.
Yes, all of those. Yes, all of those plans. So I want to accomplish what we can. I prefer not to kick too many things down the road, but we have to do what we can. So I'm looking forward to looking at all the needs and aligning the resources that we have with those.
Right, and the first thing I think that everybody has mentioned and has talked about is the city manager search. The ad is now on the city website. So and obviously, you haven't been to a meeting yet, but from your campaigning, did you hear anything? Are people kind of starting to talk about that a little bit?
I think they understand the needs. I mean, for the last 10 months, we've had a city planner and a city manager doing the same job. One person, a big job. Doing one of those jobs is a lot of work alone. For one person to be able to handle both jobs, the city can, start to suffer somewhat from the planning side or from the management side. So I think we really need to do a search. The citizens are ready to move forward. We've heard that when we were out knocking on doors, that they're ready for us to meet the needs. And one of those things is actually getting the city manager in place. So that will be one of the very first projects we want to get together and work on. So.
Right, and when we had talked previously, you had kind of given a little spiel about some of the short-term goals that you have for your first year in office. So do you want to refresh those a little bit and just kind of talk, besides the city manager, what else you're pretty excited about? Well,
I'm excited to expand it. We've done a lot of great work with both Target Development Corporation and the Convention Visitors Bureau and stuff, and I'd like to expand that work. Basically, my long-term vision is I want to see Northeast Michigan become a leader in tourism. And I see Alpena as being a leader in that region. To do that, we need to continue the work and get together with the other communities, continue the work that we're doing with the township and the county, so Alpena is focused on that, as well as working with other communities, starting a dialogue with the Sheboygans of Rogers City to see what we can do to make this the biggest Pure Michigan region.
Right, especially because Alpena we did get to be included in the Pure Michigan campaign, last summer, and I think that everybody has mentioned, whether it's the small business owners or Target and the Chamber, that they did see a spike in tourism and a little bit more activity. So really, that can only move forward if people keep working towards that goal.
Exactly. I'm looking forward to doing that and working with those groups to expand that.
Right, and also, so your term doesn't just end, 2014. You're going to be there through 2015. So that is a pretty long-term experience for you as a council person. So in that long-term vision, what do you really envision for Alpena?
Well, I'm hoping by then we have a really strong baseline for the tourist industry, but I also want to make sure that we're doing what we can to bring new manufacturing into this area.
Right.
Very tough goal. Michigan has been struggling for a long time, but I really do see Alpena leading all the cities of our size in leading Michigan back to a growth state. And that can be things from getting the word out with Target on Alpena, why you would want to bring your company here and manufacture your goods here. Manufacturing jobs are starting to increase slightly in the United States, and there are companies out there looking for new homes. I definitely want to be on that short list.
Right. And I think, too, that's something that everybody is really excited about, too. So I think it would be a really great thing because you all have maybe a different idea of how to accomplish the same goal. So that could be something really positive as well for the council.
Yes, I agree.
And so moving forward then as well in November, which is only about 8 months away, we have another election for the council seats that Sam Eiler and Sean Sexton currently have. And neither one, I'm pretty sure Sam Eiler has suggested maybe he won't seek re-election. So that's one seat that's open. And then Sean has been pretty quiet about it. So potentially we could have another change-up with 2 additional people or 1 additional person. So for you, what do you think that says in terms of stability for the city?
I think, you know, it's one of those thoughts where the citizens will come forward and decide exactly what they want. You're correct in saying Sam is the only one that has announced that he's officially going to retire.
Right.
And that's a tremendous loss for the city. Sam has done a fantastic job for our city. Sean has not officially announced anything to my knowledge as of yet, so I'm not sure if he's going to seek the re-election.
Right.
But I think the citizens will come up and say, you know, we like the direction that this group is taking the city right now. Let's keep it stable. You know, they may have some different thoughts on which way they want to go. So, I mean, it really comes down to their thoughts and who puts out their best vision for the city and which way they want to take us. Definitely,
because I do think, like you had mentioned, everybody is there. Everyone who wants to seek council has the people in mind. It's the residents in mind. So I think that together, do you agree that maybe everybody on council and the people in the community just wants what's best for Alpena?
Exactly. And we'll do that. Yes, every one of us, even if some of our visions differ slightly, we all have the same thing in mind. Let's move Alpena forward. Let's really work together. Let's debate whatever issues we have, but let's get unified in the direction we want to take Alpena and go forward.
Right. And now, since you are a new council person, and officially will be so on Monday,
yes.
What are some ways that people can find out more about you? You know, if maybe they can't attend the council meeting to really hear you speak or hear your thoughts. Do you have any sort of social media that you'd like people to find you on and follow you?
Yes, I started a community Facebook page back when I was campaigning.
Right.
That's up and running. That will continue. I'm going to keep answering questions. Citizens send me questions on there. I offer up my opinion, and I can also, if they have a question for the city, I can also direct them to the proper resource at the city hall where they can get an answer. So that's under my name. Michael Noak is a community page. And I also, you know, even at the city council meeting, you're going to find me in the back. I've always said that I want to be in the back, greeting people as they come in and welcoming into the council chambers. And of course, I plan on doing meet and greets.
Great.
Right now, I am trying to maybe set one up for May. So
got a lot on your plate, though, so we're trying.
Yeah, exactly. Just so if people have any concerns for the council, that they can come talk to me directly.
Okay, well, great. So everybody can visit Michael Noak on Facebook, and if you guys stay tuned, we'll hear from the other council person-elect, Susan Nielsen. Welcome back to Insights, everybody. Now joining me is Councilwoman Susan Nielsen. Hi, Susan. How are you doing?
I'm great, thank you.
Good. Congratulations on your election. It's very exciting. So being previously appointed back in November, you have had a little bit of more experience than Mr. Noak in the sense of you kind of know a little bit more what's going on just on council currently.
Right. Well, I think I was on the Plan Commission for 16 years,
right.
And that is a proven training ground for council, and that really gives you a leg up. It does. And this 3 months, though, although I love being on the Plan Commission, I thought it was just the thing for me. But after I was appointed to council, I realized how much I love council, and I really am excited to get started.
Right. So. And I think something that's on a lot of people's minds, we just had this municipal council workshop, so pretty much you guys know now what's on your plate, what the big tasks are. So are you pretty excited to get right into it and get started with all those things?
Oh, yes. Who wouldn't be? And I already have. I'm on a couple of committees already, and I'm looking forward to being on other committees. And so, yes, I am pretty excited. And it is so nice to work with the present council. It is. And they're very knowledgeable, and past mayors and past council members have been very sharing and giving and willing to say, well, this is how that started.
Right.
And so, and this is the direction we've moved in, and this is why we went that direction. And so having the history is very helpful as well.
Right, I imagine so. And I think one of the first big things that the community is pretty concerned about is when are we going to get a city manager? So you guys have put the ad out there, and now it's kind of a waiting game, I imagine.
It really is. Now we just have to be patient and talk amongst, the council needs to talk and in open council meetings about what we're seeing and that sort of thing. But in the end, it all depends on who applies, and we're really looking forward to seeing all of that. I should think that'd be a pretty lengthy process of getting
You would think, right?
Yeah, yes. I would work on my resume a long time and have it pretty inclusive. And
right.
So it's a tough job. I want them to take their time.
Right, and I believe the mayor had said when we spoke a few weeks ago that he imagines that probably by the end of April, moving into May, is when we'd probably have some interviews lined up and have an idea.
That's definitely our timeline, and I'm looking forward to the steps that lead up to that. It'll be very interesting to see who is interested in Alpena.
Right, and especially going into the summer. Summer is a very busy time for Alpena, which is a great thing, especially because it's been getting more busy, so I've heard, over the past few years. So getting a city manager right before all of our, our big summer festivals would be a really great thing as well.
And that is so true. I can tell you just the learning curve for being on council is just giant.
Right.
So I can't imagine, I can only imagine what it would be like for a city manager. Whoever it is has a huge job.
Right.
And I should think a very gratifying job.
Definitely. And we had mentioned too, so the next few months that you'll be on council, we're going to summer like we've just talked about. What are some of the other projects that you're pretty excited to work on in addition to the city manager search?
Well, we contracts are up right now, and so we're all anxious to, I won't say anxious, but we're all interested in getting all of that well behind us so we can move forward with those partnerships. And
definitely.
That's to me, that's a very interesting process. We have so many wonderful city employees.
Right.
This has been one of the things that has been the most, I'll say, pleasurable for me is just seeing everybody in city council. I mean, and who works for the city staff.
Right, all of staff.
Everybody is just very warm and friendly and welcoming, and so I'm looking forward to that transition of being ready to move forward. I think there are so many things. As you know, the budget is what it is.
Right.
I think there are so many things that we would like to do.
Right.
But I'm not sure that we'll be taking giant bites out of big projects.
Right.
I can tell you this, the engineering staff and the rest of the staff will work hard to get as much bang for the buck as we possibly can.
Right. I think that was a common theme for all the department heads is grant funding, grant funding, grant funding. Everybody talked about that, which, as they said, and you just said, it's impossible with the city's budget to undertake some, a multi-million-dollar project for the entire city.
And that's very true. But you can't discount the fact that we have such great partnerships with the county, the township.
Right.
Even with the state of Michigan, there are many, many close partnerships there. And the great thing is, through a program called EVIP, everything has an acronym.
Everything is.
EVIP. So there's this program called EVIP. The state will reimburse us for partnering with the county, the township, and
which is great because I think everybody, and you and Mr. Noak included, have just said how excited you are to really keep that partnership going. So how wonderful that you could get reimbursed simply for doing something that everybody would want to do anyway.
Yes, and we just get so much more product for the amount of money we invest. I think everybody does. So that's a great thing to have a state, the state reimburse us.
Right. And moving forward, you will be sitting on council and through the municipal term 2015. So that's about 2 years out. So what are some of the things that you're thinking, maybe more long-term visions for Alpena versus some of these shorter-term things that we've just talked about?
I am really interested in the state's idea of placemaking. I'm very interested in that. I think the plaza is such a creative idea and one that we need to explore, that we need to get behind and push. We need to support it in every way that we can. We need to plan to the T with our partners and try to make something happen downtown in terms of the plaza.
Right. Because as Leslie Dort has mentioned, there's studies that prove that, and there's some data behind these I guess the word I'm looking for here is assertions, that really you could benefit a whole community by just having the plaza.
And I agree with that. There's almost any institution has a gathering place.
Right.
Think about church, think about school, think about everywhere. And how beneficial it is for our city to have a gathering place or a place where people know they can just go to be in the city,
right,
in the heart of the city.
Right.
And it's very important. We already have such good information about where it should be, how it should be, all of that.
Okay.
And so I think building on that information, it'll be easy for us to do a good job with that.
And moving forward too, for you, since you are a newer addition to council, can people go about getting in touch with you? Maybe just to talk with you a little bit more about some of these ideas.
Well, I have a Facebook page.
Okay.
It's Susan Nielsen for City Council. And,
great.
I have that. I'm in the phone book. Absolutely.
Look you up.
Me. Yep. Look me up and call me. If you see me out and about, I'm happy to sit down with anybody. If I can't talk in that very instant, I'm happy to make an appointment. We can sit down and talk.
Okay.
I'm very open, approachable, and right. I want people to ask me if there's something they think I have an answer for.
Right, a little bit more transparency with the government like everyone has been calling for.
Absolutely. Circumstance have brought us here, and there's no doubt about that. But that circumstance is not here now.
Right.
And so it is...
Really positive
is for us to move forward.
Okay, well, thanks so much for joining me today, Susan. If you guys stay tuned, finally on this edition of Insights, we'll be hearing from some of the superintendents involved in the regional enhancement millage. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Insights, everybody. Now, also on Tuesday's special election, voters in Alpena, Alcona, and Montmorency counties voted on the regional enhancement millage, and in a 3-to-1 decision, made it quite clear the millage is not what they wanted. The millage would have generated millions of dollars for school districts in Alpena, Hillman, Atlanta, and Alcona. Now, moving forward without this money, we spoke to the 4 superintendents and the AMA ESD to find out what their next steps would be.
We only get involved in enhancement millage at the request of the local schools. We cannot run an enhancement millage without that. And so there was overwhelming support from the boards. In fact, they were all unanimous votes to have this on, and that's pretty unusual. And I think it's because they're all in the same boat of dire financial straits and at varying stages of that, but all going in the same direction.
Well, this past weekend, I drew up a budget for the coming school year, and I knew at that point I was going to have to draw 2 parallel budgets, one with the enhancement millage and one without. And I would say that what I was hoping to avoid this coming school year was having any splits. Now, I was able to work it out where, in a sense, even the one split I am going to have is going to be kind of a half a split in a sense, because I have a full-time teacher retiring, and what I'm planning on doing is bringing in a half-time teacher. This will be the first time that we've had to do something this type of angle. And the way I've got it planned, even after lunch when the second teacher moves into a different area, we're still going to have 3 with the students. We need to send the message real clear to Lansing that they've got to stop. They continue to ask us for more and raise the expectations every year, and we understand. We're good with that. I can speak for Atlanta Community Schools and probably everyone else. We in Northern Michigan understand. We get that. We want our children to be going at a higher level of expectations and doing better and better in their classes. However, with that said, the state of Michigan continues to give us less and less funding to do that. And it's making it very difficult. But what's happening is we have to become very creative with the little bit of money we have, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Hillman Superintendent Sean Olson had the following to say regarding the outcome of the millage. I am very disappointed with the outcome of the enhancement millage. There will be much discussion with the Hillman Board of Education regarding next year's budget and the lack of funding coming out of Lansing. Since we will still have several months of operating on our current 2012-2013 budget, it is difficult to say how deep we will have to cut.
I think for us it's disappointing that we couldn't convey the seriousness of the message about how bad school funding is in Michigan, and especially in Alpena and Alcona and Montmorency at this point in time. But I respect what the voters' message is. They're just not comfortable with this millage and this option. For us moving forward, it's a matter of going to be some tough choices. I mean, we're going to have to sit down and prioritize some spending pieces that'll go into programs that'll have some impact. We're going to have to sit down with our employees and have some serious discussions about adjustments that we can make working with them collaboratively, I hope. But the reality is Michigan's funding model for public education is broken, and especially the piece in Northeast Michigan that's really exacerbates the problem is declining enrollment. 2 years ago we balanced the budget and made all the cuts and closed schools and did all the terrible things we had to do. And we essentially balanced the budget. So what happens in 2 years? I mean, and what happens is we probably could have dealt with the declining loss of students, but we couldn't take it with the policy decisions that the state made. Local voters need to understand that in the end, they're kids in this community that are going to get shortchanged educationally because of policy decisions at the state level.
I'm disappointed in the results of the enhancement millage request for the sake of all the students in Northeast Michigan. Our district understood that this would be a very difficult decision for the community to make, but because of the severe financial crisis we're facing, we really had a responsibility to ask on behalf of our students. Now that the millage question has been decided, at Oconee, we know how we have to proceed. We will need to reduce our budget by approximately $600 to $1,000 by June 30th. We're going to look at all of our options, programs, and services, and then we'll just have to make those tough choices necessary to balance the budget and avoid a deficit. We already have multiple cooperative agreements with our intermediate school district and also with our other public schools in our ESD, and I would expect that kind of collaborative effort and cooperation to continue and probably to even grow larger if at all possible. We have been talking to our representatives from our area who make the decisions about the school budget in Lansing on a regular basis for quite some time now. We will continue those efforts, and I would encourage parents and community members to contact their representatives and make sure that our voice here in Northeast Michigan is heard and that our students have opportunity for a rigorous, high-quality education.
There was never an argument with the opponents of the millage that Lansing has dropped the ball. We concur. It was a little bit frustrating that some people made a suggestion that we talk to Lansing. We've been doing that for years. We lobby on a regular basis with our own representative, our own senator, the governor's office. We, through our statewide organizations, continually are lobbying on behalf of public schools and public education, but also for our own districts. It's an ongoing process that we're engaged in. So we've been doing this, and we'll continue because it's part of our role. But I must say, those individual citizens also have that responsibility, especially if they don't want to support a local solution. If they really do support kids, and I'll take them at their word on that, then they should be contacting their representative and their senator and the governor's office and saying, you need to do right by public education and by our students in our area.
While all four districts may be handling the lack of funding in a different way, one thing they do have in common, and that's the need and the want to address Lansing and the lack of funding coming to Northeast Michigan schools. That will do it for this week's edition of Insights. You can catch us next week at 11:30. For WBKB, I'm Marissa McKay.
Insights into Northeast Michigan is produced by WBKB News. If you have any comments, suggestions, or topics you would like to see on a future show, please email WBKB News. This has been a production of Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation. All rights reserved.